Today I'm coming with a topic that I want to frame. It's a topic that is new for me, relatively new, very dear to me, and complex. I'm not sure that it will be straightforward or non-controversial, but we'll see. For a while now, I don't know how long, I had this notion that in order to do the kinds of things that I am doing, and that those of us who are within the nonviolent global liberation community are trying to do together, we need optimal conditions. And it's a very odd thing to say because it feels very like, oh, optimal conditions, but most of the world's population doesn't have optimal conditions, blah, 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 which live within me as a very uncomfortable piece. And yet I sense the truth of it, that certain types of experimentation cannot happen if all the time you are also dealing with all the systemic internalized stuff that comes from patriarchal conditioning while trying to transform it. It's just too much. It's going to put all of us beyond capacity. And so I have been thinking about what are those optimal conditions? Why are they necessary? And I finally came to some clarity. And the clarity is this. In my understanding of what led to the patriarchal turn that has gotten us to where we are here now, is loss of trust in life. It's very, very deep. It's got nothing to do with gender or any of the things that people usually associate with patriarchy. It's loss of trust in life, loss of the basic orientation that life will take care of itself. It's so deep that I think most of us who live at present can only understand it conceptually. I don't know that we have much of a visceral experience of it, but most babies do. From one of my most beloved and inspiring authors, Umberto Maturana. He wrote a book with a German woman, Gerda Werdenzoller. That book, even the title of it, every time I hear it, something melts within me. The book is called The Origins of Humanness in the Biology of Love. And just this idea of a biology of love keeps giving me food in times of difficulty. So here's a quote from him. A baby is born in the operational trust that there is a world ready to satisfy in love and care all that he or she may require for his or her living, and is therefore not helpless. We could talk about this for many years. The difference between dependence and helplessness. How it is that when you trust life, which is what every baby who has not been traumatized at the beginning, before being born, is born with that automatic trust in life. When you have trust in life, you're never helpless. Just take a moment to check out what that would be. To actually trust the way that life unfolds. And so, given that we lost that and that is the basis of where patriarchy came from. It's loss of trust in life, such that we have been busy trying to control life, to subdue it to our wishes, as if we can improve on life. I suddenly understood a few weeks ago the bit about optimal conditions and what is needed. What is needed is sufficient, consistent access to togetherness. When I say optimal conditions, I don't mean enough food, I don't mean enough comfort, I don't mean enough internet, I mean sufficient, consistent togetherness. And what it takes to maintain sufficient, consistent togetherness as a baseline of trust. What I'm understanding now is that, there are many grooves that patriarchal conditioning creates within us. And what I mean by a groove is like you walk, you think you're walking on the sidewalk, you think you're walking somewhere, but there's a groove. So suddenly you find yourself walking somewhere else in this thing that has been there waiting for you, and you just follow it without knowing that you went away from your own path. And so one of the deepest grooves of patriarchy is the mistrust groove. And the mistrust groove gets activated most easily, as I see it, when somebody does something that doesn't work for me, and I don't understand why they're doing it. That gap, it's like, okay, if they do something that doesn't work for me, but I can make sense of why they did it, it's okay. I can be annoyed and irritated. I will tell them, we will work it out or whatever. But if they do it and I don't have a theory about why they're doing this thing that is annoying me, the patriarchal mistrust groove will feed me mistrust, attribution of stupidity, carelessness, assholeness. You fill in the gap. That's what I will attribute to a person who does something that doesn't work for me and which I don't understand. I want to pause for a moment and see if you recognize it. That ease with which we go there. Thank you for recognizing it. For me, this is one of the deepest pieces of work. And because I like to tie everything to leadership, I will tie it like this. One of our tasks as leaders is to rechannel our energy towards togetherness as leaders, rather than towards mistrusting the people that we are holding in togetherness, that we are in a group that we're leading, in a project we're leading, or whatever. Whatever they do, one of our tasks as leaders is to cultivate, sustain, deepen, mourn whatever happens that interferes with trust, and stay in trust. The other piece is to mourn and recognize that, especially as leaders, we will be mistrusted. There will be a hefty, disproportionate load of mistrust directed at us. And that's where it happens. Now, the more we want to experiment outside of the patriarchal field, the more trust there needs to be within whichever group is taking on the experimenting. Otherwise, so much energy will go into conflict. And that happens so much in groups that try to do different things, is they get mired in conflict. Sometimes way more than the mainstream organizations that they're trying to replace, because the gap is big, and it's easy to fall into the mistrust even more when we are expecting things to be different. So that's really the extent of my introduction into this. I want to invite you to bring your own considerations, stories, events, situations, to look at them through this lens of what can I do to increase my capacity to trust? Because to say, oh, well, bring me trustworthy people and then I will trust, that is within the groove. So that's it.